Welcome. I'd like to invite you to view a presentation regarding a menu of opportunities that addresses a global economic development initiative. Not only will this drive economic growth on many continents, but also creates permanent bridges that others can utilize to advance USA-Africa mutual respect and relationship. This effort was developed under the umbrella of the American Veterans of Igbo Descent and a global foundation based in the U.S., named the Africa Health and Agriculture Foundation. We were recently at a CEO summit put on by Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, where we were invited to advance U.S.-Africa relationship building. It was a unique opportunity as we had many players present from various professional backgrounds and experience levels across the U.S. and Africa. The gentleman in the center happened to be the governor from Plateau State in Nigeria. The primary goal is to develop programs which address as many of the fundamental needs that our societies got to function effectively. We are looking at sections of large USA cities suffering from the same issues, paying energy bills, and getting the sufficient proper food supply on the list. A blend of these programs gets at many of the items on our strategic target chart. Let's talk about food supply. Farming in the United States is extremely different today versus what's done in Nigeria, and all of Africa for that matter. Farmer produces more than enough food to feed over 250 people. There are other estimates where this number is even greater. In Nigeria, typical farmer feeds enough for 4 people. With 6 people per family, the farmers are not producing enough to cover the basis. In Igbo land, a farming co-op named Akubi was launched 13 years ago. It has 5,000 farmers in Imo registered with the state as a farming cooperative. We also work with the local agricultural college, Imo State Polytechnic, to include helping our co-op in their charter. The group has gained enough momentum that it has the attention of the Federal Export Department. Export is a highly sought tool in terms of improving profitability for the farming community. In Blacksburg, Virginia, as an example, it has a significant percent of its population that fall below the poverty line. In this particular chart, all of the light-colored regions have up to 50% living in poverty. If we take a closer look at the terrain throughout the city using Google Earth, we can find many areas that are now just grass-covered and not providing much use. This particular one happens to be 170,000 square feet or 16,000 square meters. Let's take a look at the income profile for Detroit. For this particular chart, the darker regions are the poorest. The yellow portion on this one happens to be a neighborhood I'm quite familiar with. My dad grew up there. More than 45% of the population in this area is below the poverty line. Zooming in, we see the lots that used to have homes on them but are now barren. One can buy huge tracts here for very low prices. Each small rectangle represents a city-size lot that now go for $200. The 78,000 square foot red rectangle costs only $1,900. The same undeveloped space out in the suburbs would go for over $1 million. City agricultural space is clearly affordable now. Another angle on agriculture is getting non-farmers interested in urban farming. In Igbo land, farmers want to improve beyond subsistent farming. We've come across new applied technologies now not only in the United States, but also in other parts of the world. This is column farming. This slide shows a column farm that produces 5 times the normal harvest per area versus a traditional farm. It is installed in the garage attached to this home. Here's another example where column farming is being done outdoors, as well as in greenhouses. They are highly productive, and very small plots of land. Done in greenhouses, they can double or triple the number of harvests annually. This is clearly a serious opportunity. The ultimate idea is packaging the harvest, processing it when necessary, and storing in distribution warehouses. This is food security. It will supply affordable neighborhood stores, yet another job creation opportunity. We expect that the harvest will be so plentiful that we'll be able to export it as well to Africa and other international locations. In Igbo land, we apply the same farming techniques to produce product for export back to the U.S. warehouses to target the African American and diaspora palate. It becomes a steady flow of highly affordable, nutritious, and attractive food moving back and forth across continents. One can't easily build a warehouse that not only has food in it, but other consumer items that would be of interest to send from one continent to the other. In this way, shipping containers would be filled to the brim, making it economical. The example of our project team who runs an international grocery store in Florida. His store represents an example of a typical business-to-business customer. The diaspora community would offer many such opportunities. We could also provide supplies for ethnic restaurants in the food service sector. We plan to unite suppliers, business-to-business customers, members of our manufacturing team from the various international locations, and other enablers, such as the academic community, federal, state, and local interests. We'll utilize human resource expertise to pull out high-talent individuals from the community for many of our leadership positions. I pulled a couple of data sets together, which really tell a story. In the United States back 100 years ago, the automobile was being introduced to the public. At the time, life expectancy was in the 40s. Yes, the average person died when they were in their 40s only a century ago here. Life expectancy over time is the green curve on the top. The blue curve on the bottom is the number of registered vehicles over time. When nested together, they are virtually identical, except for the time around the world wars when life expectancy was artificially affected. A key conclusion is that the missing mobility in Africa has affected life expectancy. There are other factors, however, mobility drives an industrial revolution, which in turn begs for better education, improves business output, which pays for advancements in the other factors. And once you have more money, you demand better healthcare. You demand better education? You demand a better life. One can't afford it. We worked with the Technical University of Munich, along with several other universities, including Imo State's Federal University of Technology in Owerri, on a multifunctional vehicle that's electric, highly efficient, requires little or no maintenance, can go anywhere, off-road, and would be affordable, at less than $10,000. Some 2,000 of these are being produced by a company named AVID Motors, a spin-off business from our work. We are hoping to scale this up to assembly plants built in Igboland, Ghana, and several other African countries. A car was then blended with some other activity that we already had going in the medical area into a concept called Meta-Car. We've been operating this for the last couple of years to great success. It is a mobile clinic which brings the doctor and nurses to the patient. Announcements are made at local churches for when Meta-Car is coming to their village. Testing and treatment of diabetes, heart disease, along with improved eye care or glasses, are distributed to those requiring them. It is directed out of the nearest hospital in the area that we help build. The last focus to discuss is a solar energy company named Kairos Solar that we started for homes and small businesses alike. Here's an example of a pilot that we put on the women's hospital that I just mentioned, Imo State. It has a 22 kilowatt system which is quite large with plenty of battery power to store up to 30 kilowatt hours of energy. It's more than enough to keep the hospital going through the night. Here it shows a roof-mounted system that went on a home. This one happens with the free sunlight energy source. It only costs 4 USA cents a kilowatt. The high cost of diesel fuel in Igboland generates electric energy for a whopping $2.50 per kilowatt. That's more than 50 times as expensive. It only takes about a year to pay off. It's clearly smart to replace existing diesel systems. To date, Kairos Solar has installed, or has plans to install, $2 million worth of our low-price systems. We have penciled proposals for Plateau State, Anambra State, Abia State, and Delta State. The following figures are for the Delta State example. You can see that a completed launch in Delta State totals to 95,000 units installed in the first year, going up to almost 300,000 by the end of year 3. This translates to 30% of the homes and small businesses generating 1,600 gigawatts annually of solar-based electricity. This would avoid using the 900 million barrels of diesel required to do this. The savings involved in this versus using a diesel system is mind-boggling. For every naira spent on the equipment, 4 naira are saved annually. That savings would go on and on for years into the future on the original investment. With solar, one keeps lights on at night, bringing security to the surroundings. Criminals avoid well-lit homes. Lighting after dark also extends business hours early into the evening, creating revenue and convenience. This chart demonstrates the savings in green from using a solar system versus the capital cost of a solar system in red. One can observe here that the savings aren't quite as phenomenal in the US because electric energy off the grid is more cost-effective in the US than Nigeria. On the other hand, the payoff would still occur within 5 years. It goes without saying that somebody is paying $2,000 a year per family in these neighborhoods for the electric bill. In summary, we have live pilots going in Igboland on retail supply chain opportunities in the areas of agriculture and food production, warehousing, medical care, and mobility. With that, we want to thank you for your attention today.